Part A, the tubular hem of my blanket, just finished. So it says programmed stop. We are now ready to do the main part of the blanket, which is Part B, the design, which is 1,400 rows at stitch size 7 on the back bed and 7.5 on the front bed. And we will be stopping on row 1422. So I am getting ready to knit sector 5. I say knit sector 5, enter. The council tells me to knit 2 rows of the previous pattern, the part A, because it takes 2 rows to set up between different sectors or different patterns. So I know that I am going to be going to stitch size 7.5 on the front bed. I only want to change the front bed because if I change the stitch sizes on both beds, it could break the yarn because it's not knitting on the back bed. So I just say go. It will stop, and I will now change to stitch size 7 on the back bed. My council tells me now I'm going to be using feeder 1 and feeder 2. Feeder 1 is already in the lock, so I hold that button down as I press my second button. If they both pop up, I push the one down. I test it so that I see that it's programmed correctly, because you never want 2 feeders up at the same time. I pushed the lever, it popped up feeder 2. So the next time it should pop up feeder 1. I press it, feeder 1 is already up in the air. So I am ready now to knit, because I have set up feeder 1 and feeder 2. I say, yes, I did it by pressing enter. And then go. It stops again to tell me that I'm still on LX, which the whole blanket is on LX, so I never have to change that. I never change the racking handle. I keep it down for the whole blanket, even if it tells me to put it up. And it is set up. Notice that now the pushers, which is this group of patterns, is now set up in the pattern. So that is all correct. I say enter. It now tells me that I'm ready to knit, but I have to remember I'm knitting in sector 5. My technique is 523, and the pattern I'm knitting, I numbered it 644 when I designed it. But I have to remember to set the rows so it stops at the correct rows. I hit rows. It says I'm on row count 24. I hit this down button to go down to where it will put in stop at row 1422. 1422. 22. That's what I want. So I say yes, that's correct. Enter. And now it is ready to go. After you've started knitting, remember to let your yarn loose so it's not hung up. Also very important, reach up and grab those long pieces of yarn and cut them off short. So that it does not, otherwise it could catch in this fabric takedown bar and tangle your blanket up and jam your machine. So that is very important. Now this is just going to keep knitting for 1,400 rows and stop on row 1422. Notice how my yarn is threaded and the wires never come all the way down. They should be running loose like that. If your yarn flow is too tight, it could pull a feeder out of the color changer, and then it would cause you a big problem.